Morning, guys. What's going on? It's Troy Force. We're back. I'm in the living room chilling for the day. I want to talk to you guys about a particular topic, something that's been on my mind for the last 2 or 3 weeks now. And it's about arms. I'm just going to get straight to the point on that. I read a lot of things online about people saying that arms is dying or some crap like that. And I just find it funny why people would say that. The game's only been out just about 2 months. There's an article on Kotaku, right, saying arms doesn't have any legs. And when you look at the article, it talks about how after the first 2 months of the game's launch, they've only sold 1.18 million copies. And I don't even know if that figure is even correct. Is that United States? Is that global? Is that, taking into account all the arms games sold in the world, or is that in just one particular region? When you make comparisons to games like Splatoon 2, the sales are just not comparable and all of this other stuff. So pretty much what I want to do with this little segment right now is kind of put into perspectives where arms is. So when you put things into perspective, let's compare arms to Street Fighter V. In the first 6 months of Street Fighter V didn't sell anywhere near 1 million copies, where ARMS did that in literally 2 months. And Street Fighter V is considered the actual #1 fighting game of the fighting game community and its competitive scene, which is obviously in esports. Let's look at another point of view. When you compare fighting games to actual other genres like first-person shooters or just the shooting game community as a whole. So whether this may be third person, whether this may be first person, fighting games never hold up in numbers compared to actual shooting games that actually come out. If you compare any major fighting game to a shooting game that comes out in the same era or time, you can never compare it. Whether this is actually in the casual market for sales to the video game or in the competitive market as well. In esports, you cannot compare Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter to Call of Duty. That's just not happening. In fact, you can combine the two and it still doesn't compare to a fraction of the sales of what Call of Duty makes, even in terms of the turnout. Let's say we're going to put together Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter at the peak of its days. Can you compare those to that of Counter-Strike Global Assault? Some say yes, some say no, but Counter-Strike Global Assault is an old game and it can still hold its own up against games like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. The point I'm trying to make is that when they tried to compare ARMS to Splatoon, it was an unfair comparison. Of course, Splatoon is going to bring in more people than ARMS is going to do. Fighting games generally do not do well or fare well against shooting games at all, in any perspective, whether it may be first or third. Fighting games just do not do well when you're making the direct comparison to the shooting game counterpart. One of the things that bothered me the most about the whole ARMS debate, especially in the Kotaku article, is the narrative or the suggestion that there is no scene behind it. When you look at ARMS, and you look at its launch debut at E3 for its invitational and the production quality that they put together and everything for it. Let's take a look at what happened to ARMS competitively around the nation from the end of June to the beginning of August. What a lot of people don't know is that there was a huge ARMS tournament in Florida at CEO. After that, there was another ARMS major tournament at San Diego Comic-Con. Not too long after that, or I think it was before or after, there was an ARMS tournament called ARMS 2GG Saga. The ARMS 2GG Saga flew out players across the country to compete with a $1,000 pot. Now, this is all in June/July. This is still going on. Let's talk about what happened on the East Coast of that. Since that time, there was a 128-man Nintendo New York tournament. Then ARMS had a major, well, we consider this to be a regional. Some people will say it's a major, but it doesn't make a difference. You had Defender North. That was not only streamed at an actual regional/major. Some people will look at Defender North as a major or a regional. Either way, the point it was at a live actual tournament where people can go to, and it was streamed, right? You can find, if you guys were looking for Arms tournament at Defender North. You can look in the description. I'll leave a link for you guys where you can watch a whole playlist for it. But that tournament was actually sponsored as well by Combat Network, by Tournament Edition, and we at Empire Arcadia was the ones that kind of put it together in tandem with Defender North staff, Andy Dumour. But when you guys take a look at that tournament, it had $750 on the table, and that was another big New York tournament. On the local scene, Wednesday night fights for the first, I think, 2 or 3 weeks had Arms in it. I don't know if they still have it. Someone would have to check in to see if Arms is still there at Wednesday night fights. And Hitbox Arena and 8-Way Run, along with Combat Network, are looking to put together a scene for New York and New Jersey. A lot of people don't know about that. Let's take a look at what's coming up for Arms right now. So Arms has been picked up at Summer Jam, which is going to take place not too long from now. So the question here is, why do people, if this is all going on for Arms in the first 2 months, why do people say Arms is dead or has lost its competitive appeal and no one is going in for it? The reality is that someone is trying to draw a narrative. And that narrative is that Nintendo's new fighting game, Arms, cannot compete with the other fighting games of today. And that's just not the truth. Let's also take into consideration that Arms was announced for EVO Japan. And we still have yet to know whether or not Arms are going to be announced for EVO Worlds next year. And with that, I honestly, firmly believe that you're going to see Arms all over the nation throughout the remaining of this year. I would at least urge people to wait until the end of the year before coming up with their opinion on whether or not Arms is floating or drowning. Kayane did an interview with the actual producer of the game, and the producer is talking about making a world tour. So I don't understand. If Arms is building a local scene, appears at majors, has a world tour coming up, then how can Arms have no legs? Anyway, guys, that's my point of view. I just want to let you guys know. I want to give you guys the real point of view on Arms and what Arms is actually doing. For those who don't know where to look, you just got all the information from me. So continue to support the Arms community, and I'll catch you guys in the future. Later.